Number 1, the open secret of being used. You already feel it, even if you've never named it. The subtle exhaustion, the quiet resentment, the pattern where people take, lean, borrow, demand, and somehow leave you emptier than before. This isn't bad luck. It isn't coincidence. And it certainly isn't because you're unlucky or misunderstood. It's because you've been readable, predictable, safe to exploit. In the world Machiavelli observed, people are not cruel by default. They are opportunistic. They move toward advantage the way water moves toward gravity. If you are useful without being dangerous, generous without being selective, loyal without leverage, you become a resource. And resources are consumed. You see, people don't wake up planning to use you. They simply notice that you don't push back, that you explain yourself, that you tolerate disrespect in the name of being good. So they adjust. They ask a little more, they give a little less. They test the boundary you never enforce. And when nothing happens, they learn the truth about you. Not what you say, but what you allow. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power is not granted to the moral, it is conceded to the formidable. Those who rely on virtue alone are outpaced by those who understand consequence. This is the uncomfortable reality. People respond not to your intentions, but to the cost of crossing you. If the cost is low, they will pay it again and again. Being used is not about evil people finding you. It's about signals you broadcast without speaking. Signals that say, I will absorb discomfort so you don't have to. I will sacrifice leverage to maintain harmony. I will stay silent to keep the peace. And the moment you accept that role, the transaction is complete. You become functional, not respected. Necessary, not valued. Machiavelli would tell you this plainly. The world does not protect the good, it exploits the available. Until you change what it costs to misuse you, nothing else changes. This is not about becoming cruel, it's about becoming costly. Number 2, why kindness without power becomes permission. You were taught that kindness earns loyalty, that patience invites respect, that giving without asking builds trust. Machiavelli saw the flaw in this belief long before modern psychology put words to it. Kindness, when unguarded by power, does not inspire gratitude. It creates entitlement. People do not say it out loud, but they feel it instinctively. If you give without consequence, you can be taken from without fear. This is where being used truly begins. Not with malice, but with permission. Every time you explain instead of enforce, forgive instead of remember, tolerate instead of correct, you signal that your boundaries are flexible. And flexible boundaries are not seen as virtues, they are seen as openings. Masculine stoicism was never about endless endurance. It was about controlled restraint, choosing when to be calm and when to be firm. The mistake most people make is confusing emotional control with emotional surrender. You suppress your anger to appear mature, but anger, when disciplined, is information. It tells you where you are being disrespected. When you silence it completely, you blind yourself. Machiavelli warned rulers against relying solely on goodwill, because goodwill fades the moment it stops being profitable. People do not remain loyal to kindness, they remain loyal to structure, consequence, and clarity. This is why those who are endlessly understanding often become endlessly used. They make it safe to disappoint them, safe to delay them, safe to take their time, energy, and effort without repayment. The dark truth is this: people respect consistency more than compassion. They watch how you react the first time they cross a line, because that reaction becomes the rule. If you minimize it, joke it away, or internalize the blame, you teach them exactly how to treat you going forward. Kindness must be selective, not universal. Otherwise, it stops being generosity and becomes access. And once you give people access to you, without requiring discipline in return, they will keep using you. Not because they are evil, but because the system you created rewards it. Number 3, availability is the currency of exploitation. Nothing makes you easier to use than being constantly available. Answering immediately, showing up without being asked twice, rearranging your life to accommodate other people's priorities. You think this proves reliability. Machiavelli would call it exposure. In power dynamics, availability is not generosity, it is pricing. The more available you are, the cheaper you become. People subconsciously measure worth by scarcity. What is rare is valued. What is always accessible is consumed. This is why those who are hardest to reach often command the most respect, even when they offer less. It isn't arrogance, it's leverage. When you are always present, always responsive, always willing, you remove the need for others to invest effort in you. And when there is no investment, there is no hesitation in taking. Dark psychology reveals this pattern clearly. Humans protect what they work for and disregard what they receive without cost. If your time costs nothing, it will be spent casually. If your attention is unlimited, it will be taken without gratitude. Masculine stoicism teaches restraint, not self-erasure. Yet many mistake discipline for self-denial. You deny yourself rest, space, and silence, thinking it will make you indispensable. But indispensability without authority is a trap. You become the solution people rely on while privately overlooking you. Machiavelli understood that those who appear too eager to serve are quietly dismissed as tools rather than allies. Power requires distance, not emotional coldness, but strategic absence. When you step back, when you delay, when you do not immediately fill every gap others leave, something shifts. People become aware of your absence, they feel the cost, and cost is what creates respect. Being used thrives on predictability. If others know you will always say yes, they stop asking carefully. If they know you will always adapt, they stop accommodating you. This is not about playing games, it's about restoring balance. When you reduce your availability, you force others to consider you, to plan around you, to value your presence instead of assuming it. Machiavelli's insight here is simple and ruthless. Those who control access control the relationship. Until you learn to be selectively unavailable, people will continue to use you, not because they despise you, but because you have taught them that your time has no price. Number 4, explaining yourself is how you give away power. Every time you over-explain, you surrender authority. You think you're being fair, transparent, reasonable. In reality, you are negotiating your own position downward. Machiavelli understood that justification is not neutral. It is submissive when offered without demand. When you explain your choices to people who did not earn the right to question them, you invite judgment. And once judgment enters, power leaves. Dark psychology is blunt on this point. The person who feels compelled to explain is already reacting. They are already defending. And defense is a signal of lower ground. People don't use those who are silent and decisive. They use those who can be talked into doubting themselves. Masculine stoicism is not about secrecy for its own sake. It is about economy, few words, clear actions, no emotional leakage. When you justify your boundaries, you imply they are negotiable. When you rationalize your decisions, you imply they require approval. Over time, people learn that pressure works on you, that questions soften you, that persistence extracts concessions. And so they keep pushing, not aggressively, but persistently, because you have shown them that explanation precedes surrender. Machiavelli warned rulers that appearing too eager to be understood weakens command. Understanding is a privilege, not a right. The moment you reverse that order, you become manageable. People begin to treat your limits as suggestions, your no as an opening statement, your silence as guilt. This is how being used becomes routine. You do not lose power because others are smarter. You lose it because you keep offering reasons where only decisions are required. The strongest posture is not hostility, it is certainty. A calm refusal without elaboration, a decision without apology, an action without commentary. When you remove the explanation, you remove the leverage others use to bend you. They can no longer argue with what you will not justify. They can no longer exploit what you will not defend. Machiavelli's lesson here is cold but liberating. Power is preserved by those who do not debate their own authority. Until you stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from your compliance, they will continue to use you, politely, efficiently, and without remorse. Number 5, emotional reactions are invitations to control you. The moment someone can provoke an emotional reaction from you, they gain leverage. Anger, guilt, defensiveness, the need to be understood, these are not weaknesses by themselves, but when they are predictable, they become handles others can pull. Machiavelli observed that people test rulers not by open rebellion at first, but by irritation, delay, and subtle disrespect. The goal is not to defeat you, it is to see if you can be moved. Dark psychology confirms this pattern. Whoever controls the emotional temperature of an interaction controls its outcome. If you react quickly, loudly, or repeatedly, you teach others how to steer you. They learn which words unsettle you, which silences make you uncomfortable, which accusations force you to explain. And once they learn that, they use it again and again because it works. Masculine stoicism is not emotional numbness. It is emotional discipline. It is the ability to feel without revealing, to notice without responding, to decide without displaying. When your reactions are scarce, people become cautious. They slow down. They choose their words. They reconsider their approach. But when your reactions are abundant, you become readable. And readable people are easy to manage. Being used often has less to do with being kind and more to do with being reactive. You answer messages immediately because silence makes you anxious. You comply because conflict unsettles you. You soften your stance because disapproval feels threatening. None of this is accidental. It is conditioning, and it can be unlearned. Machiavelli advised that rulers should appear calm even when threatened, because calmness denies enemies the feedback they need. Without feedback, manipulation collapses. When someone pushes and nothing happens, no anger, no defense, no explanation, they lose direction. They cannot tell if they are winning, and uncertainty is uncomfortable. So they retreat or they expose their intent. Either way, your position strengthens. The discipline here is brutal but simple. Delay your responses, lower your emotional volume, let others wonder where they stand with you. You are not required to mirror their urgency or absorb their tension. The less you react, the less you are used. Until you master this restraint, people will continue to press the buttons you keep displaying, not because they hate you, but because you have made control effortless. Number 6, boundaries mean nothing without consequences. A boundary that carries no consequence is not a boundary, it is a request, and requests can be ignored. This is where most people fail without realizing it. They say what they won't tolerate, but they never enforce it. They announce limits, then negotiate them away. They warn once, twice, endlessly, until the warning loses all weight. Machiavelli understood that power is not declared, it is demonstrated. People believe what you do, not what you say. Dark psychology shows that humans learn behavior through outcomes. If crossing your boundary produces no cost, the behavior is reinforced. If it produces discomfort, loss, or withdrawal of access, it is corrected. Masculine stoicism is about choosing your consequences carefully and applying them calmly. Not in anger, not theatrically, quietly, consistently. The mistake is thinking consequences must be aggressive to be effective. They do not. The most powerful consequence is removal, reduced access, delayed response, a change in behavior that signals something has shifted. When you continue offering the same warmth, availability, and effort after being disrespected, you erase your own standards. People notice, they adjust, they stop taking you seriously. Being used thrives where enforcement is absent. You become the person whose limits are known but not feared. And fear here does not mean terror. It means respect for outcome. Machiavelli warned that rulers who threaten without acting invite contempt. The same applies to your personal life. Every unkept boundary teaches others how far they can go. Every exception becomes precedent. This is why people who are too understanding end up surrounded by those who take advantage. They mistake empathy for strategy, but empathy without structure dissolves authority. The discipline required is uncomfortable at first. Enforcing consequences feels harsh because you are used to absorbing discomfort instead of creating it. But power always requires someone to feel the cost. If it is not them, it will always be you. Once you enforce a boundary once, just once, without explanation or apology, something changes. The dynamic recalibrates. People either rise to the standard or remove themselves. Both outcomes are victories. Until you are willing to let someone lose access to you, they will keep using what you keep offering. Power does not ask for respect. It creates conditions where disrespect is too expensive to repeat. Number 7. Being needed is not the same as being valued. One of the most dangerous illusions is believing that being needed protects you. It does not. It traps you. When people need you but do not respect you, they will drain you while quietly planning life without you. Machiavelli understood this distinction clearly. Necessity creates dependence, but dependence does not create loyalty. People remain loyal to power, not to usefulness. Dark psychology reveals an uncomfortable pattern. Those who solve everyone's problems often become invisible the moment a replacement appears. You become a function, not a figure. Masculine stoicism warns against building identity around service without authority. You work harder, give more, fix more, thinking indispensability will secure your position. Instead, it lowers your leverage. The more people rely on you without consequence, the more entitled they feel to your effort. They stop appreciating it because it feels permanent, and permanent things are taken for granted. Machiavelli advised rulers never to make themselves overly dependent on the goodwill of others, because goodwill shifts with convenience. The same applies here. If your value exists only in what you provide, you are replaceable the moment someone cheaper, faster, or more compliant appears. Being valued is different. Value is attached to standards, presence, and scarcity. It comes from knowing that access to you requires respect, alignment, and discipline. When you step back from being endlessly helpful, something counterintuitive happens. People either step up or step away. Those who step away were never allies, they were consumers. Those who step up reveal respect. Being used persists when you confuse being busy with being important, when you mistake exhaustion for significance, when you accept overextension as proof of worth. Machiavelli's lesson cuts through this illusion. Power belongs to those who can afford to withdraw. If removing yourself creates chaos, you were necessary. If removing yourself creates concern, you were valued. Aim for the second. Reduce what you give without reducing who you are. Stop overfunctioning in relationships that underfunction in respect. The moment you detach your worth from how useful you are, the dynamic shifts. People begin to sense that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. Until then, they will keep using you, not because they admire you, but because you have taught them that your value lies in what you give, not in who you are. Number 8. Fairness is the most dangerous lie you were taught. You were taught to believe that if you are fair, others will be fair to you. That effort will be noticed, that honesty will be rewarded. Machiavelli would call this belief fatal, not because fairness is evil, but because it is optional. Power does not operate on moral symmetry, it operates on advantage. Dark psychology confirms what history already shows. People respect rules when rules are enforced, not when they are morally sound. When you approach life assuming fairness, you approach it unarmed. You expect balance in a system that does not promise it, and those who understand this quietly outperform you. Masculine stoicism does not reject morality, it rejects naivety. It teaches you to see the world as it is before deciding how to act within it. When you keep playing fair with people who play strategically, you become predictable. Predictability is exploitable. You give others time to prepare, adjust, and extract from you. They know you will hesitate before acting decisively. They know you will weigh intentions instead of outcomes, and they use that delay to position themselves ahead of you. Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on the virtue of others, because virtue bends under pressure. The same is true in everyday life. People are ethical until ethics become inconvenient. Then they choose interest. If you continue expecting fairness where none is enforced, you invite disappointment and exploitation. This does not mean becoming dishonest. It means becoming realistic. It means understanding that fairness must be structured, not hoped for. That rules without consequence are decoration. That morality without power is a request, not a shield. The moment you stop assuming others will treat you as you treat them, clarity arrives. You stop being shocked by behavior. You stop personalizing exploitation. You begin designing systems that protect you regardless of others' intentions. That is power psychology. It removes surprise from the equation. Until you let go of the belief that fairness will save you, people will keep using you, because you are playing a game by rules only you are following. Number 9, withdrawal is the moment power returns. The moment you stop feeding a dynamic, it reveals its true nature. Withdrawal is not weakness, it is diagnosis. When you pull back your effort, your availability, your emotional labor, you learn who valued you and who was simply benefiting from you. Machiavelli understood that distance clarifies allegiance. Those who respected you adapt. Those who used you react. Dark psychology shows that when a source of benefit is removed, people reveal their motives instantly, through anger, guilt-tripping, urgency, or sudden affection. These reactions are not signs of care, they are signs of loss. Masculine stoicism teaches that retreat, when chosen deliberately, is an assertion of control. You are not disappearing to punish others, you are stepping back to restore balance. When you withdraw, you break patterns. Predictability collapses. People who relied on your consistency now face uncertainty, and uncertainty forces reassessment. They begin to calculate again. They ask themselves whether access to you is worth effort, respect, or adjustment. This is where power quietly returns to you, not through confrontation but through absence. Machiavelli advised that rulers should never reveal dependence, because dependence invites manipulation. The same principle applies here. If your presence is guaranteed, your influence is diluted. If your presence is conditional, it gains weight. Withdrawal exposes how much of the relationship was built on convenience rather than respect. It also disciplines you. You learn that you do not collapse when you stop giving, that the world does not end when you stop rescuing, that silence does not erase you, it concentrates you. This is uncomfortable because you were conditioned to equate worth with contribution. Withdrawal breaks that conditioning. It teaches you that power is not constant activity, it is controlled engagement. When you return after withdrawal, calmer, firmer, less accessible, you return changed. And people feel it. They sense that the terms have shifted even if nothing is said. This is why those who master withdrawal are rarely used twice. They have demonstrated that access to them is not guaranteed. Until you are willing to step back without explanation, people will continue to lean forward and take. Withdrawal is not retreat, it is repositioning. It is the moment you stop proving your value and start enforcing it. Number 10, what you must do so they stop using you. This is the line most people never cross. Not because it is complicated, but because it is costly. To stop being used, you must become someone whose misuse has consequences, whose silence carries weight, whose absence creates loss. You must stop seeking to be liked and start requiring to be respected. Machiavelli's final lesson is not about domination, it is about positioning. Power does not come from aggression, but from clarity, from knowing what you will tolerate and acting once that line is crossed, without anger, without explanation, without reversal. Dark psychology teaches that humans adjust behavior only when patterns stop rewarding them. If people keep using you, it is because the pattern still works, so you change the pattern. You slow your responses, you limit access, you say less and enforce more. You remove yourself from spaces where your value is measured only by what you provide. You stop advertising your availability and start protecting your attention. Masculine stoicism demands this discipline. To endure discomfort now so you are not consumed later. This is where most fail. They understand the truth intellectually but lack the resolve to apply it. Because applying it means letting some people be disappointed, misunderstood, even lost. But Machiavelli would tell you this plainly. Those who cannot bear temporary isolation will accept permanent exploitation. The moment you choose self-respect over approval, the world recalibrates. Some people fall away, others adjust, a few rise to meet you. That is the cost of becoming untouchable, and it is worth paying, because the alternative is living as a resource, drained, predictable, quietly resentful. You were not meant to be endlessly useful. You were meant to be formidable, calm, selective, difficult to misuse. If this message disturbed you, that is a sign it was meant for you. If it clarified something you have felt but never named, then you are already changing. If you want more of these truths, uncomfortable, precise, and necessary, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Power favors those who see reality clearly and act on it without hesitation.